Hi, everybody. First of all, I want to do a mic check. I'm using a different computer today and seeing how everything works. I think this one, oh, thanks, TG. Can you hear me all right? Sound okay? More than um, can you hear me? Guys, listen. Yes, okay, okay. Thank you. Hi, Joe. How you doing? Abdul. Okay. Like I said, oh, good. I I'm trying a different computer. I'll probably have to do something about the lighting. It's sort of darker over here, so I'm not sure. I'll figure it out later on. But hi, Javier. How you doing, man? Um, Randy. Hi, Jack. The So anyway, here's what I wanted to talk about today, and the hi, Jamie. The and this has to do with punctured lung. Hi, uh, David. This has to do with sort of there's a lot of discussions, and someone will say, "Oh well, my Rolex is great, and here's why," or they'll say my Omega is great, and here's why, and yada yada yada. Hey, Kaz. Um, and then they get into these arguments that are really sort of seller versus seller, or well, not so much seller versus seller, but rather brand versus brand kind of things, which is not not too useful, I don't think. In some respects, it is in some, but um, the thing I was wondering is that who and how, hey Forbin, how do we advocate for ourselves? Hey Tennessee Mike, um, I guess the thing that concerns me. Hey Vladimir, um, yeah, the gurus. Yeah, that's another thing too. Hey Clyde, how you doing, man? Hey, did you get my email, Clyde? Uh, Mister Shinobi, how you doing, man? Um, the so this is sort of what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, Uh, talking about fairness is problematic. Okay, we've got these values that are set up, and and we end up being a lot involved in selling ourselves. I mean, selling our watches ourselves. Uh, Let me tell you what I'm sort of trying to wrap around my head. Let's say you go out and you get a stereo system or a sound system or something like that, or a computer. Um, and now you're doing stuff with your computer, and it has one good thing or one bad thing, or you get a piece of software, and that's all you talk about. You're talking about the functionality of the thing you have, as opposed to, well, let's worry about resale values, or let's worry about things that I think that ADs are concerned with, and that has to do with sales and so forth. And of course they should be. I mean, there's one of the things we have to obviously support watchmakers because they make watches that we collect. Okay, but I don't ever remember anything. It was sort of like, hey guys, what do you think? I mean, it was like, let's say Jacques Rose. That's fairly, I guess, neutral watchmaker, and they say, okay, guys, what is it that would make you happy? Well, the thing, obviously, one thing are better prices, certain variety of things that we like. Some guys like sports watches, some like divers, some like more formal, some like they can wear to work and so forth. but we rarely talk about those kinds of things. Hi, Art. Yuri, how you doing, man? Um, I guess the question is that, what can we do? And by the way, oh boy, I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, so bear with me. There's certain kinds of things and problems. Hey, Dr. A and B, that certain outlets have. Okay, I'll put it that way. I was reading an article today. I forgot. I think it was in Watch Time or somewhere, and it was about they were talking to a guy named Adam Diver, who was um, what they call an ambassador. I love these terms they have. He's an ambassador for what is it? Breitling. Okay, he's an ambassador for Breitling. So they introduce him, and all they talk about was his experience in the military and his work in movies and I guess on Broadway and so forth. Okay, yeah, he's a Sith. And so, okay, fine, and they're going on and on about him. And so they start talking to him about watches. He says, well, I liked watches before, and he had some kind of Mickey Mouse watch that meant a lot to him, and that's fine. I don't think it was Mickey Mouse. It was Michael Jordan. Had a picture of him making one of his famous dunks on the dial. Okay, well, okay, that's fine. Now, he was at the Breitling Boutique in New York City for some kind of big shindig that they were having, and that's also fine. But here's this big article, and what do we learn about watches? Nothing. I mean, they talked to this guy. Said, "What do you know about watches?" Well, he said, I like watches, something like that. And he says, and Breitling told me, these are the important things, and yada yada yada. And so I was reading that. I thought, okay, so they have this. Does Breitling advertise in their? I guess it's their online thing. I don't know if they even have a. Watch Time has a magazine. I think they used to. I've seen it before. I don't know if they do anymore. But this is sort of a situation that we seem to be in. We have all of these things running around us. The so-called experts and stuff. What's his name? That I was looking at a thing on. What's the name of that? Govberg and then Watchbox. I guess they're part of the same thing. And they had this contest, and if you subscribe to Urban Gentry, you'd get extra points. And I'm thinking, oh man, this is weird. And so is that I have my opinions, and that's all I got. I mean, I haven't. I'm not I don't represent anybody except myself and my own interest as a watch collector, though. That's one thing I can say. And I think, the rest of us, when we're talking about these things, some of these guys are more interested in, the watches and, their resale value. I've had that problem myself. You don't want to, this one watch I had, I've been mad at it and everything else about it ever since I had it. And that was because they stuck an ETA in there and didn't tell me about it, and they lied all the way to Switzerland because I called them in Switzerland. All right, so you have these guys; they're not telling us the truth, and so I was really upset with it. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, now if I want to sell this thing, I better keep my mouth shut. Fat chance, unfortunately for me. Because I was, you just sort of get burned, you get burned on something like that, and you want to say, but on the other hand, you want to get rid of the thing. So, hey, this is really great. Fortunately, that particular watch had a lot of gold in it, which was a good thing. I love that watch for that reason. And it was traded it for another watch eventually, and to a person who knew exactly what was in it. I didn't say, oh, this has got I think the phony baloney name they gave that movement, which was a Pazu 7001 or ETA 7001, and they called it El Ra something or other. Wilson Observer with 6498. Yeah, well, Clyde, if you know what's in there, that's different. That's totally different. If I know, for example, a 6498 is in a watch, and there's some German watches, and in fact, there's a Tissot with a 6490 in it that I thought, hey man, I'd like to have that. It's at a decent price. It's not this high horology price, and and that's fine. But so they're one of the few that are honest about things, even when it's to their benefit. I think in the review tomorrow, you're gonna in the collection review tomorrow, I have a good example of a watch, and they have this crap policy of not telling you the truth about what's in their watches, even when it's to their benefit. That's what's so crazy. This one watch has this fabulous movement in it, and the dummies act like, oh well, that came from, our guys did that. It's just nuts. Um, okay, so let's see what we're talking about. I think there should be more associations like AHCI. I tell you, I agree. AHCI is really good, but they're still advocating for they're still advocating for, hey, Bill, how you doing, man? Uh, they're still advocating for the watchmaker. Okay, now those watchmakers are really something. I mean, they're special. I don't think there's one among them that I wouldn't love to have a watch from, and I do. I mean, when you got people like Terry Voutilanen and F.P. Journe and Marco Lang, and every top developer just about is in that. Okay, okay, so let's take a look at what you guys are saying. NS something. Let's see. Gilbert was pretty big. Then he went and bought Watchbox. Watchbox is just got huge foreign investment by an Asian company. They have become huge. No kidding. They have been. I've dealt with Govberg before, and they seem like pretty decent guys to deal with. I've had no problem with them. One watch I got from them went south on me, and so I told them and sent it back, and they fixed it right up and sent it right back to me. So I've got no problem with that. I've got. I mean, it's like it. Oh, and I tell you, I keep forgetting the guy's name, but he's really good. If you listen to this guy describe a watch you want to watch, I don't care what watch it is. He's really good at describing the watch. He works for Govberg and Watchbox. I forgot the guy's name. Anyway, he's listening to him talk about watches is like, it's just like, oh man, that sounds so cool. I don't know if he's ever said anything bad or not, but he's really good at it. And so we, to what extent are we all tied up into marketing and things like that? And so how do we advocate for ourselves? The thing I like about AHCI is that here you have a small group of people who, Tim Moscow, Michael Smith. Thanks. Hi, Michael. How you doing, man? Yeah, Tim is really good. I love listening to Tim. If I have a watch and I want to hear something good about it, I'll listen to Tim describe it and say, "Oh man, I'm so glad I have that watch." I tell you, the guy is great at that. Um, okay, let's see what's Clyde up to. Where did he go? Okay. All right. Let's see. What was Clyde's last thing here? Let me see if I can find it. Boy, okay, all right. Didn't the Hottenkeys start out as an enthusiast site and become sellers? Clive, they may have, but that's exactly the thing is that you know we don't have anything like consumers report, so to speak. I mean, I suppose we talk among ourselves and but I tell you, I don't think it's I don't think I've ever seen anything when two of us agree on something, or at least everything. So, but that's a good thing. I mean, someone comes, oh, that's a crappy watch. And says, wait a minute, do you have one? Well, no, I've never seen one, but I know it's crappy. Well, maybe you don't know what you're talking about. Not the fighting kind of thing, but really trying to say, look, Okay, I'm a collector, and I own a Rolex, and you want to buy an Omega, and that's a good one because it's got a coaxial escapement that was developed by George Daniels, and a guy who collects Omegas says, "Hey, that's a good that Rolex, that particular model is a Rolex." I was looking at a thing the other day on a Yachtmaster 2. I think it's Yachtmaster 2, and they had some really interesting things for people who are yachts. For those of you with yachts, I know that Clyde belongs to the Oklahoma City Yacht Club, but the rest of us will just have to dream about those things. But anyway, they have this really neat function in it. Now, the other one that has it is the Ulysse Nardine, what's it called? Ulysse Nardine Regatta. Wonderful watch. It's got this timer and back and forth, and it's got a neat video to go with it. Okay, those are neat things, and I think the important thing is that if I'm a Rolex collector, and yet I know certain things about Omegas, and or I'm an Omega collector, I know things about Rolex, and I can talk about them not as sort of as a self-appointed brand ambassador, but rather someone who really likes watches, and I don't see a lot of that. Okay, is 24K. Let's see. Today, the collector is screwed because of the gray market. I don't know. Oh, an investment. I don't think the gray market is screwing people. I think the gray market is making certain things affordable that I really like. Um, I don't see how it's screwing people though. I guess if you're saying that that's because of they buying and selling and hoping to resell again, I I don't think it's a gray market. In fact, if it weren't for the gray market, I think the manufacturers would have to invent the gray market, and I'll tell you why. There are so many models of so many watches that just don't sell. And instead of using them as doorstops, they slip into the gray market. And when they do that, then they can go down in price. And so, the manufacturer can claim that their price levels are, they maintain them. Um, and with some it's true. I think Rolex does a good job of that, and so does Patek Philippe. And but how does that affect us? Well, is that that's sort of not a question that as collectors that we need to worry about in one sense, but sometimes that's all we talk about rather than concerns that I think we ought to think about. Say, hey, I want to. I'm for the watch collector. You know, and like I said at the outset, I wish the very best for watchmakers because they want them to be successful. Um, Now, I'm sure that they sit around and they talk about collectors like me who waits until the price goes down the toilet and and pick it up for a song. In the same way that I hear Rolex fans are probably the biggest critics of Rolex I've ever heard because they're wow, they're doing this to us, they're doing that to us. Interesting relationship that they have together. Anyway, what are some other ideas you guys have? Let me see. Jurors Online. A good example was the extreme praise for GS, which are fine watches, by the way. And just before raising the prices of GS by Seiko, it's all clever online marketing. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the whole marketing thing. See, if uh, there's things that when we have a watch, say, well, this makes me happy. And I like to see it in watches. I got on my Langenheim Frederick II. And the thing I like about it, one thing I like about it, is I can see the whole movement because it's got this skinny little bridge, this trigonal bridge, and it's got all of the gears on that, and so I can see everything, and so it's sort of fun. You can really mess up your bands by putting them on and taking them off all the time because you're looking at the watch. Now, I had one of my early watches, and one of my favorite watches I ever had was my Overseas, and it had a picture of God, I forgot that it's one of the sailing ships, I think it was Vespucci or America's Vespucci, something like that. And that was sort of cool. But I never got to see the movement. And that was sort of too bad. On the other hand, the new overseas, when I say new, the ones that came out in 2016 with the 5100 movement in it, they have exhibition windows so that Vacheron Constantin can show off their really cool movements. Ones that don't have that, I'm not as interested in. And so, that's sad. Now, the only thing that Rolex has that I really like is the prints, not because I got anything for or against Rolex, but rather it's got an exhibition window and a really cool looking movement, a shape movement. So, okay, so let's see what's going on here. First, praise them into good status to justify the increase in asking prices. Juror, you're such a cynic, juror. Okay, I say I bought a watch with Govberg. Great deal, great negotiation, great service. Love the experience. Yeah, that was the same as mine. Tennessee Mike, what are you doing? Tim, okay. Oh yeah, you're talking about Tim Moscow. Yeah, he was the guy I couldn't think of. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. Let's see. Relationship Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. In case you're not familiar with the Stockholm syndrome, this is where the kidnap victim ends up siding with the kidnappers. that's that's a great analogy. Um, okay, our watches that hit the gray market, are they collectible? John Doe, most of my watches are from the gray market. It's sort of like, oh gee, I didn't get mine at an AD and pay $10,000 more. Mm-mm. Oh, I wish I could have done that. That doesn't make any sense to me. One of my favorite watches is my Vacheron Constantin. Oh God, the Historiques Americain 1921. I saved $10,000 on that, brand new from the gray market, and it was. I got it in the middle of the Asian crisis, and so what was happening? All these watches were coming back from Asia, and so I was able to get it actually through Joma's shop, but it was $10,000 less than what they had at the Vacheron Constantin boutique in New York. The gray market is a name I think that the manufacturers gave them. It's a secondary market. There's nothing gray about it. It's not semi illegal. Now, if some guy is throwing them off boats off the coast and I have to swim out and pull in a waterproof case along with a load of dope, then that's not the legal way to do things. Uh, yeah, John, I don't know what, the collectibles, collectibles is what you want to collect. I think I mentioned on several occasions, there's this guy that was collecting these cheap Tag Heuers and loved them all. So, I've seen things on Joma Shop that are quite collectible, including my Vacheron Constantin 1921. Okay. Um, Okay, gray has no manufacturer warranty. Yeah, they don't have a manufacturer warranty. There's a warranty though from the people selling to you. The one I got from Govberg had no manufacturer warranty, yet they fixed it right up. So okay, they should be transparent about their bias. Oh, of course they should be. I This is another thing. In just about any other business, well, nah, not in the U.S., but it should be. In most businesses, if they have no integrity, if they're telling you, if they're not telling you what's inside, yeah, you'd be very upset. One of the best examples of that kind of thing was when Ford bought Jaguar and then put their, I guess, they made one of their other models look something like a Jaguar and sold it as Jaguar. Jeez, that's you talk about, but they never said that. Hey, Par, how's it going, man? Um, okay, let's see. Yeah, Rolex. is by and large as far as I'm concerned, they're fairly transparent in the sense that you turn it over, you know what's going to be inside of it, even though there's no exhibition window, and and you believe that they're making progress on incremental improvements, those kinds of things. But they're they're pretty upfront because they don't have anything to hide. If you take a look at the watches that are being sold by the independent group that was mentioned before, AHCI, hey, those guys got nothing to hide. In fact, they're the opposite. They're showing you every little bolt and thing that they make by hand. And the problem that they have is that most of their watches are crazy expensive, with one or two exceptions. And you can get some really great watches. I keep talking about Harbring too. They make, I don't know, a couple hundred, if that, a year, and cranking away with the guys this little place in Austria, and they make really cool watches. Here's this little watch company that's won 4 Grand Prix awards. My God, that's you know that's that's a lot compared to, I mean, especially for their size and number of watches they put out. Rolex has never entered into the Grand Prix because there's a good chance that they might lose, and if they lost, you know, that wouldn't be good. On the other hand, if they don't enter, their marketing is what holds them up, and that's why I like the Grand Prix watches. At least you got somebody who supposedly knows a lot about watchmaking and watches saying, "Hey, this is a good watch." Is there any kind of finagling? Probably is. I won't say there's not, but at least it's something. I mean, it's more than an ad, and ads can be very effective. Don't I've got no doubt about that. Vladimir, what do you say? Unless the manufacturer makes their own movement, I consider it couture, not oleodury. Am I a snob? No, you're not a snob. I mean, this is the other thing. Talk about a snob. There are different levels of snobs. You know, if you buy a Patek Philippe, there's going to be a guy with with a Kerry Vuitton and says, oh, that's isn't that nice? You don't want to hear that about your watch. It's sort of like a pat on the head, and run along with your watch. These poor guys with their Rolexes at the Watch Time show, they were either apologetic or something about it. It's just so weird. You mentioned Foreman. Let's see. Research the cost of a movement in a watch to know how much they are marking up the price of the case. Sounds, for example, $5,000 for an ETA 2824 watch is a lot for the case. Brand foolery. Exactly. Exactamente. That's exactly the problem that I see. They say, "Well, we're high horology because we went down and we've beveled the bridges and so forth," and yet they don't tell you what kind of movements in there. Hey, Mark Perkins. On the other hand, you can get some really, really good watches, excellent watches, with ETA or what's the other one? Soprod. A lot of other ones that you can get with that are good. Hey, Rasher, Mark Phillips, Mark Perkins. Most European car manufacturers use engine from different companies. Some are, that's true, Mark. That's a good point. That's a very good point. The same is true in American cars. There's so many, there are parts that come from parts unknown, but that doesn't make it. I mean, the thing is that I don't care what they put in there. They can put Yugo engines in there if they want to, but I just want to know about it. Why? Why? I mean, it's my money. I worked hard for it. Uh, you know, I this is what bugs me. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Use this, but lots of hand finishing on the movement. COSC certified. Okay. COSC certified. You buy your if you get an ETA with a COSC certification on it, that means they've been tested. Okay, and that's a good thing. Right? They run them through a series of tests. Metas does the same thing, and there's this outfit in Fourier that Quality Fourier, I think, and they put them through even more than the what's the name of the Geneva, the Geneva seal. Okay. What do you think of about IWC Bronze UTC as a pilot? IWC is on my list of sort of the box of chocolates. You never know what's inside, and that bugs me. Cartier, IWC, Breitling, all of those guys have these phony baloney names. And, so, I mean, thank God for places like watchbase.com. You can go in and find out what kind of things they have in it. Not always. Yeah, I'm sure that everyone's got a price. Okay. Holy smoke. Mark Phillips found a diver the other day that used the Parmigiani Fourier twin barrel movement for $1,700. Okay, now was that the one by Vaucher? I mean, Mark, was a movement by Vaucher, or was it did it have a PF caliber to it? Hey, big lips, I collect Rolex. With a name like that, you're going to embarrass the Rolex collectors. Okay, the IWC edition, big pilot, perpetual, yada yada. Let me see. It's amazing pilot watch. Okay, you can add a zero to the price of ETA 2428 based watches with every chemically blued screwed. Yeah, that's true. Um, I do like it has some problems now at the watchmaker. Let me see. Not an off brand. PF is greater than PH. And I think I had something similar to that, Clyde. It was Dresden greater than Glashütte. All right, what else are you guys up to? Vladimir, yeah. How about the blue screws? Hey, something I found out about the blue screws. This watch. Hey, Guns Up. That watch that we've been sharing, the Rolf Lang, doesn't have blued screws on it. But if you look at how the screws are manufactured, it doesn't matter whether they're blue or not. It is so cool. They start with this rod and it shows you, and they go that the whole thing is done by hand. It's incredible. If I lost one of those, don't you guys don't take the back off of the Rolf Lang, because if you lose one of those screws, we're in trouble. Okay, what else are you guys doing? Hi, Nelson. What do you think of Tag Heuer 01 automatic chronograph Blue Touch edition? Man, I don't know. Tell me about the movement in that, Nelson. Let's see. We usually black polish screws are considered a higher finish than blue. Oh, that's in something. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's what old Rolf Lang does. Here's a guy that he's producing 30 watches a year. And he's up to something else right now. I don't know what. But he's always doing these really interesting things with watches. And he'll look at a watch. He had this big marine chronometer when I visited him, this beautiful gold chronometer. One of these jobs, sell it to $1 million for the guy with a big yacht. And I said, hey, I just in passing, I said, do you think that you can boil that down to a wristwatch? Right away, he said, wow, yeah. He's gonna, oh my God, I would just, sort of off the top of my head. Oh, hey, that's a great idea. Go do something like that. Okay, let me see. Hey, Deacon, hi, how you doing, man? There was the other day, I forgot who it was. Some guy was asking about, something with guns. Anyway, and the one of the things that that was sort of interesting uh, is the uh, FP Journe has a collection of watches made of gunmetal, and I thought that was sort of interesting. I guess, and then he got that deal with Holland and Holland, and I think they sold them 2 barrels of 100-year-old Holland and Holland barrels from their guns, and he made like I don't know 100 or so watches with them. Really cool. Hi, Captain Zed. Uh, Captain Zed, never heard of Rolf Lang. Uh, yeah, no, he's he's not a guy you're gonna. He doesn't make a lot of watches, but his watches are really really interesting. Clyde, don't do that. Anyway, the hey, Captain said, um, okay, let's see. Aye, Captain. All right, the Holland Holland ones are really cool. Yeah, they are beautiful. They really are really very nice. I really like it. I mean, they cost like if you can get one, they're like essentially what they are. They're a Chronomet Sylvain without the second hands and without the power reserve indicator, and they're beautiful. And so what you're supposed to look at is all of that sort of that molten gunmetal look on the dial, and it's really cool. Hey, Rohit, how you doing, man? Um, I just looked at the Wikipedia for bluing screws. Dozen methods, including hot, cold, and very chemical approaches. That's true. Uh, is one of the rare makers whose limited boutique editions are actually very cool, and they're very rare, and they're actually limited edition. Art got one. Art got a boutique edition of the Chronomet Sylvain. They're very dark. They're a black and there's sort of a dark dial on it, but they're really amazing watches. Oh, John, you figured it out. Like bear. Yeah, hey, come on. If you want to test that theory, come on by some night. Hey, Bill, got anything nice to say about Archie Luxury? Hey, I got nothing to say about Archie Luxury or any of the other guys who do this. And let me tell you why. You know, and there's all of this drama about that. Now, that can be fun, okay? People want to have the drama, great. But but my view of this is that there are a lot of different kinds of things that watch collectors like to watch. And Archie's one of them, and so are some other people, and that's fine. I mean, like we got choices. I think one thing that Archie deserves credit for is that way back when, you know, before he went in a different direction, I'll put it that way. He used to have some really good things that purely about watches, and now it's more entertainment of some sort. It's not my type of entertainment. I watch Netflix for entertainment, something like that. But and the same is true with all of these other guys. Man, there's so much hate for that guy, Urban Gentry. Boy, they really people are really on his case, and now he's hooked up with Govberg, um, and what's his name? I keep forgetting his name. Moss. Anyway, the you know, and there are a bunch of other people too. I've seen some of them, and they're all different. Art's got his way of doing things. It's different from me. So does Clyde. Sort of all of us, and I think that's healthy. And the that I think is a good thing. And I don't think that we need to be sort of advocates or an apologist for what the watch sellers do. Okay, now if you get, hey Richard, how you doing? Um, the the whole thing about the drama that goes into the different characters that they have is probably That's fun. Leave them alone. Let them do their own thing. Okay, so that's Tim Mosso. Yeah, that's the guy I keep forgetting. Thanks, Clyde. He's got, he does love to listen to Tim. The guy that I really like the best for, but I think he too is like you got to be careful what you say because you can upset some sponsor you may have. That's the guy. Watches something. He's like French or Swiss. He can pronounce everything in French, which impresses me no end. I like that guy. I mean, he really knows all about watches too. Okay. So see, now we're talking about something that has nothing to do with my watches. So easy. Yeah, the watches TV. That's it, Clyde. Um, yeah, John. That's the one. And that's something. I'm the only one that I guess keeps forgetting the name. Uh, yeah, Resher, he does. And I respect it. Hey, JC, what's your favorite intro level watch from VCALS type crowd? Um, boy, I hmm, hmm, I just don't know. That's the favorite entry level for VCALS, that type. Sort of Holy Trinity, really high level stuff. Um, I don't know in terms of like focus collection. I wanted to start off with a Holy Trinity, and I got a Patek Philippe Calatrava, and then I got the Overseas, which I wore for years. I love that watch. And then I got an Audemars Piguet with a moon phase and some other stuff. That watch and I just never got along for some reason, so I got rid of it. And so I sort of kept my eye open for another AP, but then I realized is that the Holy Trinity. I know if I see an AP I really like, one that's sort of cool is a Millenary. And that's one of those watches that's not popular, but has some interesting stuff about it. There's one that I saw the other day, and I put it up on our on the Facebook page. It was a Edward Piguet, which was that line of watches was dropped. God, it must have been 5 or 10 years ago. They dropped the whole line, and so there were some really good buys on that, but most of them were not popular. They're still not. But I found one I really liked. So okay, precocious. What's it? Watch indicator. Oh, don't give me too much responsibility. Right. Okay, the watches TV. That's Mark. Yeah, he's a great guy, and he has as much watches as glasses. I love the guy's glasses. He's got these great big glasses. I think, and Massa wears them on his head. He's got up there. He's looking at something else. And I got a beret, so all of us are nuts. Um, an annual calendar, either Patek Philippe or FP Journe. Let me tell you, precocious death dealer. What a name! Um, a really neat annual calendar, and it by the time you're a little older, the price may have come down on the secondary market that I really like, and it's not too expensive to begin with. Is the Vacheron Constantin, and they've got a really nice annual calendar. They just came out with it last couple of years, but it's reasonably priced, at least as far as Vacheron Constantin is concerned. Did you see the story of the competitive sailor that had a Rolex stolen 20 years ago that showed up at Christie's? Yeah, I saw that. He went after him. It was great. Let's see. The big watches, TV glasses would not go over real well in the deep south. Well, there's, I mean, there's, regional differences. Um, Okay, the watch TV set glasses make them look like the Six Flags guy hipster stepson. Jesus. Hey Lloyd, Garth, how you doing, man? Uh, what watch would I listen? Um, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, what guys do you? I mean, most women could care less. They were not going to know what watch you have on anyway. Um, I don't know. Uh, the I just don't know. That's a good question. Um, oh yeah, Rasher. That the thing on the 50 fathoms. We had. I put that up on Watch Arts on the High Horology Lounge. And so, yeah, that was a neat one. Did you see it by any chance? Did anybody see that 50 Fathoms movie? That would be really cool to see. Let's see. Whoa, yeah. Hey, listen, Forbin Colossus, there's another millinery that Federico has on his site. Little different. It's got blue indexes and stuff. Some people may not like that, but it is a millenary and it's sort of a cool watch if you can handle things that are a little different. Anyone seen Bashir Private Label in the wild? No, I haven't, but that's something though. Vladimir, I'm hoping to get my mitts on one of those pretty soon. See you, Gunzap. Thanks for coming by. Um, I bought a watch made Titus. So yes, Mark knows not only a lot about movement but also about the man. Yeah, Mark is sort of like a insider nerd guy he loves watches. Take a there's one he did a video not I don't know maybe about a year ago about his own collection. Take a look at that if you can find it. Take a look at Mark's his collection. Really, I think it's I think he and I share similar tastes, so naturally I liked it. Bought a Ginny, a 38 millimeter millenary. I like the millenary a lot personally. Good. Hey man, that's good to hear. I you know eh, I've got nothing against Royal Oaks, nothing at all. But people act like that's the only watch that Audemars Piguet makes. And I think sometimes Audemars Piguet thinks that. Every year they come out with 5 new versions of it. Okay, how we doing on time? Whoa, man. Okay, well, look, guys, thank you all for coming. I went over. I only get a half an hour from the boss. So anyway, thank you all for coming. And tomorrow, we're having a collection review that has really got some very interesting watches. I think you're going to be very surprised by this the review. I hope so, and I hope you enjoy it. Um, take care. Thanks again for coming, and see you next week too.